All right, today we're going to run a little thought experiment, a fascinating one, based on a pretty bold idea. We're going to jump ahead to a speculative 2026, and we're going to connect two things that you would probably never think to put in the same sentence: the price of gold and the cost of artificial intelligence. Let's see just where this leads. So let's start with a big question. What if the key, the real key to understanding the next huge global shift in power and economics in society itself, wasn't some super complex formula, but something simple, something you could literally hold in your hand? The price of a single gold necklace. I know it sounds a little strange, but stick with me. This is where it all starts to click. Okay, so first we have to set the stage. In our 2026 world, the price of gold has hit $5,000 an ounce. Now, this is not a happy headline for investors. No, this is a deafening, screaming alarm bell for the entire global economy. The source material we're digging into actually calls this a nuclear-level macroeconomic shift. That's not just Wall Street jargon. That's a fancy way of saying the fundamental rules of the economy are breaking. So what does a world with $5,000 gold actually look like? Well, it means extreme stagflation. You know, that toxic cocktail where the cost of everything you need is skyrocketing, but the economy is completely stalled out. It means there's a total crisis of faith in currencies like the US dollar, probably because wars are flaring up in oil-producing countries and nations are frantically dumping their dollars to buy up physical gold instead. It is, to put it mildly, a world on the brink. And in a chaotic world like that, what's a dollar even worth? Pricing things in dollars becomes pretty much meaningless. So let's try to reprice something really valuable, a top-tier, super powerful AI subscription, not in failing paper money, but in the one thing that's held its value for millennia: gold. The math here is actually really simple. At $5,000 an ounce, gold is about $160 a gram. Let's just assume a high-end AI service still costs $3,600 a year. You know how software prices can be kind of sticky, even in hyperinflation? You just divide that dollar amount by the price of gold per gram, and you get your answer. 22.4 grams. That's it. That is the real hard asset cost for a full year of access to an intelligence that is, for all practical purposes, godlike. Just let that number sit for a second. 22.4 grams. And what is 22.4 grams in the real world? It's about the weight of a standard, thin gold necklace. The exact same object we started with. For the price of a simple piece of jewelry, you can now literally buy a genius. And this necklace price becomes even more mind-blowing when you put it into historical context. Let's just compare the real hard asset cost of having elite-level brain power on your side across different eras. Okay, check this out. 2,000 years ago, for a Roman emperor to have access to this kind of intelligence, he'd need an imperial library and 1,000 of his top advisors. In gold terms, that's about 5 million grams a year. Just 10 years ago, in 2016, for a supercomputer and a team of 100 experts, you're looking at 2.5 million grams of gold. And today, in our $5,000 gold world, 22.4 grams, a necklace. I mean, just look at the scale of this collapse. The cost has dropped so far, so fast, that the bar for our AI necklace on this chart is practically invisible. We've gone from an emperor's entire treasury down to a piece of jewelry. This isn't just regular deflation. This is a historical singularity. And a singularity like this doesn't just change the price of something. It rips the entire global economy in half. It creates what we can call the Great Economic Divide, splitting the world into two totally separate, opposing realities. So on one side, you have the physical world. This is the world of stuff you can touch: energy, food, commodities. In this world, you have extreme, runaway inflation and scarcity. But on the other side, you have the cognitive world, the world of data, logic, AI. And over there, it's the complete opposite: extreme deflation and unbelievable abundance. And these two forces are pulling society apart. This powerful scissor effect, where physical costs are exploding while cognitive costs are collapsing, doesn't just happen quietly. It has three predictable and frankly brutal consequences that will completely reshape our world. So first, the very nature of national power gets turned on its head. It used to be about having the most educated population. But who cares about that when elite-level intelligence is practically free for everyone? The new power, the real power, belongs to whoever can use that incredibly cheap AI to find, extract, and control the world's increasingly expensive physical stuff. Second consequence, the brutal squeeze on human labor. With the cost of food, energy, and housing going through the roof, human workers become incredibly expensive to keep on the payroll. I mean, why would a company pay thousands in salary when a hyper-competent AI agent costs the equivalent of a gold necklace for a whole year? The cold, hard logic leads to mass layoffs and the rise of a massive unemployed class, which is a recipe for serious social instability. And this brings us to the third and maybe the most important consequence of all. It's the biggest misconception of this new era. We think the AI brain is the big prize, right? And we've just seen that it's almost free. But its appetite is definitely not. That AI might live up in the cloud, but its stomach is plugged directly into the physical power grid, and it is absolutely ravenous. So the ultimate bottleneck, the real choke point, isn't processing power, it's electrical power. Since the AI brain itself is practically worthless, the entire geopolitical game shifts. The final battle isn't for better computer chips, it's for the raw energy needed to make them run. There's a great quote from the source material that sums this up perfectly. When the brain is worthless, the energy to run it becomes the only lifeline of hegemony. And this explains why a nation might start making aggressive, almost old-fashioned moves to control oil fields and secure energy. It's not about the past, it's about powering the future. And all of this lands us in a reality that feels like it's straight out of a cyberpunk novel. You've got the physical world, with bloody wars for oil and nations hoarding gold while survival costs are unbearable for regular people. And then, at the same time, in the virtual world, you have godlike intelligence available for the price of a necklace. And right there, that's the core paradox of this new age. We are using the most expensive, blood-soaked physical energy on the planet for the simple purpose of fueling the cheapest, most powerful digital intelligence humanity has ever created. So, it leaves us with one last critical question to think about. In a world where godlike intelligence costs as little as a golden necklace, what then is the true price of power?